Welcome, everybody. My name is Alexander Greb. I'm the global lead for digital transformation at Westernacher. And I want to talk today about the strategic context of SAP Signavio and LeanIX. So my session now will concentrate on the reason, basically. Why do we need all of that? Why our colleagues then after me will go a little bit more into detail and explain you in detail what Signavio and LeanIX is all about in that context. But at first, we want to look a little bit into some analogies and to set the stage. And the first thing I want to bring up, for example, is this shoe. This shoe is a high-performance sports and running shoe that athletes, for example, used in the Olympics in Paris this year to achieve high performance and win medals. So the good thing with that kind of shoe is that you and me as normal persons, we also can buy them. But what do we do with them? Does this mean because we bought a shoe like that, does it make automatically Usain Bolt out of you and me? Probably not, because it's all a matter of ambition. It's a matter of methods. It's a matter of what we will do with it in the end. So when you look into the statistics, for example, how many people or which people buy this kind of shoe, you will definitely find out that, okay, a certain percentage will use this kind of shoe to deliver high performance sports. Other ones, they probably will use this shoe to get out of their offices, to stay healthy, to be fit in their private and in their business lives. Other will use this more for, let's say, for health reasons, while other may just use this as a fashion gimmick or maybe just buy it and then do nothing with that. And companies are actually not so different from that. In digital transformation, you always work with a lot of tools like this high performance shoes, which is software, which is technology, like for example, SAP S/4HANA. But what we do with them, with these kind of tools, may be completely different from adopter to adopter, because they are also different. Some adopters are highly motivated. They want to deliver performance in this area, while other may not have found their kind of spin onto that topic. That's why we have to be very clear. It's a misunderstanding that just by buying a license or a subscription, that does not make you automatically to a digital champion. There is this what we call the trap value gap that arises. The trap value gap means that okay, you have, let's say, probably built-in optimization that you will get, maybe a better TCO and so on, when you, for example, move onto S/4HANA Cloud. But still, of course, there are so many benefits and so many helpers in there where it depends on you as an adopter, if you use it and how you leverage these kinds of possibilities. So it's absolutely individual on the value creation axis, where you, in the end, you are with your implementation, which means that in the beginning, in the approach, you have to be taking care about choosing the right way and choosing the right approach to be on that value creation axis about as high as possible. But the question, of course, is, we've talked with the shoe that some really invest effort in it to deliver high performance with help of this tool, while other maybe do not do this. How are we in the SAP ecosystem? Is it that most of SAP live customers are very high in the value creation axis and leverage best possible effects out of that? I always take as a, let's say, consideration or as a helper to see where we are. The question, how many S/4HANA live customers actually use Fiori? It's for me an indicator that, do you continue to work like you did before all the time? Or did you really invest time and effort to see, okay, we have the new GUIs, we have the new processes, we have the new technologies. What is in there for me? And as such, of course, you see the more or the higher the percentage of Fiori users are in the ecosystem, the higher, of course, is the leveraged value that you get out of it. And actually, the percentage is not very high, which shows other statistics that most of the customers, they have chosen migrations, brownfield approaches to carry over their old legacy processes onto S4HANA and basically continue to work like they did before. And what in the end turns out of that is what I call zombie ERPs, because I have seen with customers many S4HANA implementations, which are maybe like 3-4 years old, which actually look and contain the processes from 15-20 years ago when, for example, the first ECC or R3 implementation has been done at this kind of customers. And these kinds of old definitions, they were migrated and migrated and migrated, in most of the cases unchanged, but do not really resemble the reality anymore. So we have now an ERP where everybody thinks, okay, now what is defined in that ERP is the way we work and is our strategy. And in reality, it's nothing else than the strategy of 15 years ago, implemented with the technology of 15 years ago. And the interesting thing is, I had recently a conversation with a CIO who was in his job quite new. He said he was there the first day, and the first day what he did was that he went to the users and he knew, of course, what the architecture was, what his company is working in. And he knew that the customer is using S4HANA. And he went to the first colleague in the business user area and he looked into that and says like, okay, he's working with ECC. And then he went to the next one and, oh, he's also working with ECC. And in the end, he brought together his team and said like, guys, what are we doing here? I've not seen the S4HANA implementation. And he realized that he actually has seen, when he was walking through the offices, the S4HANA implementation, that in the end was no difference at all from a process perspective and from a user perspective than that what the customer had for years. So why does this happen? Why do we do this kinds of approaches that we tend to think, that these legacy processes are absolutely a must and that we definitely deliver them on and carry them on to the new system without really changing it? The first reason for that is the so-called sunk cost bias, or how I call it, the grandma's couch syndrome. Why do I call it the grandma's couch syndrome? Because my grandma, and I think everybody had this kind of grandma. My grandma had once a couch which was, I think, from the early 70s. And it was quite an old one, ugly, not really up to date, of course, anymore. And when you sit on it, there were blankets on it because you felt the springs in your back. And we always said, like, Grandma, why do you not kick this old stuff out? We will help you getting a new one. We will buy you a new one. No, she did not want to do that. Why? Because it was so expensive back then. And with that same argument, because the implementation of these processes were so expensive back then, so many customers still carry over processes which do not really resemble the reality and the strategy at all. So this kind of sunk cost bias, trying to grab and to stick to something because it was at one point in time expensive, keeps actually a lot of customers from leveraging benefits that they really would need now. The other thing, the next step definitely, is the process blindness. And that's the bias that the way we worked, for example, in ECC is the only way that we are able to work because of this is our strategy and this is our industry specifics that are in there. And our competitive advantage, it's there in these strategies. And like I said, most of the cases, it's not true. If you do something like a process check with SAP Signavio, you quickly realize when you take the time and dig deeper that these users who say that in reality have built so many shadow processes, with Excel or with other add-ons and so on, to deviate from those processes because those processes, they do not really resemble the reality in the business sense, in the business model sense, and in the strategy sense at all. So it really helps to use an implementation to step back from, the old legacy way of working and think like, okay, what is my strategy? What kind of capabilities enables a new technology to make the strategy reality? And how can I make them work for me? And the last part, of course, is the IT focus. That unfortunately, digital transformation topics or SAP topics automatically come or are done within the IT departments. But especially cloud, especially the new technologies like artificial intelligence, like the new possibilities we have there, they are a 100% business topic. That's why it's a big disruption, a big change for us in the SAP ecosystem and as SAP and SAP partners to not really address mainly the IT only anymore, but more and more approach the process owners in the business and talk with them and discuss with them what we are actually doing here. One other reason that is quite often apparent when you approach customers and see how they tend to approach new technologies is what I always try to explain with this kind of handy and mobile phone analogy. And it's basically like that. On the left side, you see the mobile phone I had 2005. It was a Sony Ericsson Walkman. And it was a good mobile phone. I really enjoyed it because it has a battery which lasted for about a week. Try to have to do that with today's smartphones. You could hear some music on there. You could make some photos which were not really pretty, of course, but I really could not imagine something better. When I did, or when, of course, everybody of us did that kind of step towards smartphones, how did we approach smartphones, these kinds of technology? There comes apparent that in our private lives, we behave differently than in our professional life. In our private life, we are very open and we go via the capabilities because we take this kind of mobile phone and ask ourselves, what kind of capabilities does this deliver to me? And when you realize, for example, location-based services, you immediately find use cases for yourself from your actual life that you lead. Like, for example, location-based services, you can use Komoot or Google Maps to not get lost when you are cycling in the woods anymore. Other people may go more into Tinder or start new business models in that way. But we go via the capabilities. And as such, of course, we adapt these kind of new benefits quite efficiently and quite fast. In our business life, weirdly, we behave completely different. We think the way we used to work with the old mobile phones, like I said, the only way possible. So if you compare the move from ECC to SAP S/4HANA to the technology move we did in our private lives from the old mobile phone to the smartphone, and we would have done it like we do in most of the cases, business migrations or systems migrations, then it would have been the same way like we would start to enter telephone numbers by hand into a mobile phone, or we would argue I cannot really work with the iPhone at all because it does not have any keyboard with it, and so on and so on. So it shows that this way to approach technology with capabilities is the right way to do, and we can learn from ourselves in our private lives for our business life. And the benefits that are promised capability-wise in digital transformation is enormous. Definitely customer centricity, for example, which means the ability to build new business models based on customer experiences like they have never experienced before, which is, for example, Uber, is something which is completely new, and just available to those who really fully leveraged the capabilities of the new technology. Agility and resilience, for example, a different topic. Like the capabilities like insight to action, having transparency. What is your situation, and then being guided onto a solution by the system is something that does not only help you, of course, in times of crisis. When you, for example, need at a glance to know what is your liquidity, where are your stocks, and how can you perfectly simulate to allocate them. But also, of course, in growth times, where it's relevant to deliver in an optimized way to customers to be able to leverage the growth that is possible. Efficiency and effectiveness is the element that means that adopting a new technology does not only go into the efficiency area, which means the benefits are mainly in optimizing the things you were able to do before all the time anyway, but go into effectiveness, like adopting new possibilities, new way of working, like we've seen in the location-based services example of our smartphones. Sustainability, I think, is very clear for everybody. To gain transparency in our supply chains, to be able to minimize carbon oxide emissions, to be able to go into something like a circular economy, we definitely need new capabilities that the legacy technology is not offering to us. In collaboration, we've seen in COVID that this is something that we definitely need to connect workforces in a seamless collaboration. But what is happening today when you still, like 10 years after, for example, S4HANA started talk with customers? Because of the way we approach technology, the problems are still the same. Yeah, in the main of the cases, if you talk with CIOs or with CEOs, you get two different aspects of the same cake. The one aspect is the scattered information part, where they say like it's very complex to make decision because the information is not able at a glance. Yeah, but I have in that system information A, I have in that system information B. Even just to know how a customer is actually doing. Yeah, I have to look in 3 different systems. So exactly one thing where digital transformation and the new technologies are supposed to make lots of benefits. And the batch orientation, of course, yeah, where you need always this kind of night batch runs to get business done, to make changes you did in the system through the day, get implemented or get sent down into the system. Also something which is solved with S4HANA, for example, but not used enough. So we see the tool, like the sporting shoe or like the running shoe in the beginning, without somebody who is helping you to get the best out of it, will not deliver the benefits that you deserve. And that's why the approach to digital transformation needs 3 aspects and 3 dimensions. Yeah, the first one, the bottom line, for example, the operational efficiency. That's something I think we were in the past already very good. Yeah, you see that, for example, talking about TCO and these kind of things. These discussions, they are well known. There are tools for that. There are methodologies for that. No problem about that at all. Concerning the top line optimization, like growth and adaptability, which is all about making new things happening for you, which enables new cash flow for you. This is already something, yeah, where we have to be better, where we have to need more transparency. And then, of course, the green line, the environmental responsibility, where it's all about sustainability and use the new one, transparency, to reduce carbon footprint. This is also definitely something which has to get more emphasis than it has done in the past. So in the end, all this kind of discussion that we see means that already in the approach, where you used to maybe see it mainly as an IT topic, because you were talking about brownfield, you were talking about a migration. You did not even really consider changing your processes, where your spends were only costs. We have to push more to the right, which means we have to take this topic more as a strategic topic, where the transformation that we want to achieve with that leaves the pure IT area and goes far more into business. But when you change these kinds of topics, when you, of course, with that also change the people you're talking to, because you want to by far engage in more effects concerning your business transformation. You need more tools. You need also, of course, consultants who are able to guide you through this kind of process. And the disruptions for consultants is in this area about as big, if not bigger, as for the users themselves. Because you're always talking about markets are disrupted and business users have to change their way of work. Same, of course, is for the SAP ecosystem or for companies like us, because you should not go into the market anymore as pure systems integrator, where we see ourselves or identify ourselves mainly as the executioner of a technical service. But we have to present ourselves and identify ourselves as true value partner who are doing really consulting work again, and do sparring with our customers and are like personal trainers with that running shoe who enable and motivate our customers and show them the exercises and the right things to do to generate value out of that. So the benefit for something like SAP Signavio or LeanIX is as big on the consulting side as on the customer side. Because when we look into SAP strategy, we see that SAP Signavio and LeanIX takes a fundamental role in that move from a monolithic ERP into a modular cloud-based ERP, which is delivering far more and faster innovation, which is enabling to be much more flexible in the past, and which makes the core, that has for many customers become something of a blocker for innovation, something that drives your innovation and helps you to move forward. And this is why, so for me, a good thing that with SAP Signavio, LeanIX, and now with a new acquisition of SAP WalkMe, we have now the possibility to go to customers, to not talk with them about systems in the beginning, but talk with them about strategies, talk with them about their processes, and then use SAP Signavio for analyzing and for enhancement and design of these new processes. Also, when it's all about showing the standard, for example. In the past, it was always a little bit a difficult topic because the fit to standard is not really new. SAP and SAP consultants always try to convince customers to be more standard-like they may have been concerning their requirements. But it was always a little bit difficult to show the standard. And Signavio solves this kind of problem because now you have the possibility to drill down the processes, to show these processes and make the customer aware how his future way of working with these new processes may work like. And we, for example, as Westernacher, also have enhanced that by building up dedicated process library of best-in-class, best practice processes that are not only containing the SAP processes, but also our own 50 years experience on best practices and on industry specifics to be able to deliver this out of the box to customers. LeanIX then helps this to build this into an architecture, which is in my opinion also the good thing, to seamlessly integrate this into project work. So IT architecture projects done with LeanIX are nothing like you have known in the past, where consultants come in, talk about many things, and then you get in the end maybe a slide deck or something like this, which then does not have any integration into projects or into further steps. But the results then, with the help of Cloud ALM, the project management tool of SAP, cannot only be implemented that way, but also, of course, managed and executed that way. So we, for example, at Westernacher have definite services who, with a dedicated 5 and 6 step approach, to deliver these kinds of optimization to customers. And if there's something to say, at least, then definitely SAP S/4HANA digital transformation is a business topic, not an IT topic. And we really should make this clear to us as often as possible. I'm grateful that you were my guest in the last minutes, and I'm really looking forward to your questions and answers and to the deep dives of the colleagues. Thank you very much.